Welcome to the Third Win channel, where today we're doing a character tier list for Ragnarok, which is a really cool show based in Norway, and I'm Norwegian, so I like it a lot, and I'd like to share it with you guys. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'd recommend going to watch it first because there will be spoilers here. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So here's our tier list: S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier. I don't think there's much I need to explain there. Basically, S tier is the best, D tier is the worst, and our criteria today will be likability, purpose, and impact. Those three things I think are the most important, at least in this show, for kind of rating a character. And without further ado, let's get into our first of our 14 characters. I'm going to go from worst to best in this list, so it's a bit of a ranking as well, and that is Erik. I think that he has very little likability, very little purpose, and almost no impact. He gets like a 0 on almost all of those. I guess his purpose in the show, of course, is just to be maybe a romantic interest for Magne's mom, Turid, and otherwise he's the father of course, Isolde, and he only really gets in the way for Magne, and I think he makes some really poor decisions, which make him much more unlikable as a character. It's a little bit up and down, but I don't know why he's made to be such an important character. He's not really an important character, but he appears every so often, and it just feels a little meaningless. So to me, he goes straight in the D tier. Next, we have Iman. So Iman is, you could say she's an important character because she kind of plays a god, but she misuses her powers. She's quite unlikable, I think. Manipulating people to get her grades up or get free clothing. I think that that's just, I don't know, cheap. I don't like it. I don't think her attitude towards people is very good. Considering she's like the god of attraction and family, I'm pretty sure. So or persuasion, manipulation. So she's manipulative. In terms of her purpose and her impact, she has a purpose. It's to be on the god team, as I have on the bottom right, team gods. And but her impact is relatively low. She gets people to do things for the god team, but they're not such important things. So she goes straight in the D tier, mostly because she's just not very likable to me. Next, we got at number 12, we got Wotan, and he's on Team Gods, and he kind of plays the Odin, like the really big god. And you might be asking yourself, why is Odin so low on the list? Well, I think that for some part of me thinks he's done well, and some parts of me doesn't think he's done well. Like, he's in the what's it called, the home for old folks, and he's always been in the a wheelchair, and then he just stands up all of a sudden and starts making speeches, and then people are like, okay, that's fine. And in terms of him assembling the team and all that, like, part of me likes his leadership, and part of me just thinks it's a bit weird. I think this is a bit of a theme with Team Gods. I think that they've assembled a bunch of not so likable characters. Just, it doesn't feel like a very epic team. I don't know if that was the intention. Maybe they wanted them to seem like a super underdog or something, but it's just, I don't know, something about it just doesn't persuade me. So yes, Wotan is our first C tier character. Don't get me wrong, he's all right, but not my favorite. Moving on, we have Harry, and Harry would be lower as I don't find him very likable, but he recently did a really heroic act in his fight against Fjord. He lost a hand to save the team, to take one for the team, so that they could take Mjolnir out of the factory. So he gets some points for that. So he gains some purpose points and some impact points, but his likability is still very low. And of course, he started out as a very unlikable character. So yeah, Team Gods, again, we're not doing so great, Team Gods. Down at C tier, but let's move into our B tier characters. This is where I start to like the characters. These characters have something special, unique, and they all score much higher on the likability, purpose, and impact factors. So here we go. First, we got Gry, a neutral character. I think that Gry is kind of like Erik in a lot of ways, where what is her purpose? I mean, no, don't get me wrong. There's romantic interest for both Magne and Fjord, so you get that kind of not fight between them, but you get this kind of third wheel triangle thing. But her decision making is really weird sometimes, and I don't know, maybe this is just a personal thing, and also the way they wrote her off kind of in season 2, it seems like she's just gone, she's not coming back. So, I don't know. I'm left feeling kind of mixed with her. I think that she is like kind of a likable character, but at the same time not so much. And her purpose and impact is left on Feud, but that's really all that she's done in the show. And yeah, I think she's a B tier character. I wouldn't say I don't like her, but I think the characters above her do more, are better, more likable, blah blah blah. Moving on, we have I don't even know how to say her name, but Venka, I think Venka, and I think that she was a fun little character, a nod at kind of I don't know, the strange ladies on the street, and I liked her that she was like grocery lady and she'd always say these weird things and the prophecy and all this. And she ended up being a very important character, kind of selecting almost the right people for the team of the gods. And I liked her abilities and their bird forms and um, her ability to be very careful about her, who she actually was. Uh, cool overall. I don't know. I think she's better than Odin. I just think she's really cool. Yeah, B tier. And by the way, she definitely has more impact and purpose and likability than all the characters below her. So that's how I'm justifying her in B tier. And lastly, in B tier, we have Isolde. Even though I think she literally dies in episode 1 or 2, she keeps making flashbacks. She has a huge impact on Magne's life as she is his only friend, only one who really respects him right away. And she's likable for that reason. Everyone in the town, she was right about the environment crisis, and she just gained the respect of the town, and the whole really like all the way leading through season 1 into season 2. We get the whole environment thing. That's one of the main things pushing the plot of the episodes, and she was the one who started this. And shows her impact on this show is big, her purpose on the show is big, and her likability is high as well. Even though we only get her in 2 episodes alive, or 1 or 2, yeah, she deserves to be at the top of B tier. Moving on, our number 7, so we've gone halfway through now, is Ran. So Ran is the motherly figure in Team Giants. Of course, she's lived for hundreds and maybe even thousands of years. But Ran, what can I say about Ran? I think that Ran is a good character, and I like how she sometimes just is the one to just have to do things. She takes her bow and arrow and she finishes the job. I like that about her. What I don't like about her is that she's a very firm traditionalist, and she just sometimes can come off as very unlikable. And also her purpose and impact feels like it's a little lesser than the other giants and other characters above her. I just think that the other ones do more. I don't know how to say it. And overall likability, I think she's the least likable of the giants. And yeah, that's why she gets A tiered, bottom of A tier. Don't get me wrong, that's a great place to be on a tier list, right? But yeah, that's it on. At number 6, we have Turid, and I think this is probably a big shock. And it kind of goes against all my criteria: likability, purpose, impact. She doesn't make as big of an impact on Magne and Laurits as maybe they could have made her do, because they kind of just ignore her. But I don't know, if anyone knows Norwegian culture, this show portrays Norwegian culture perfectly and how people act in Norway. And I think that she's a comedian. The actress is a comedian. She's playing this role as a serious role, but she's the kind of comedic relief of the show. I think she's super funny. So on the likability scale, she gets like a 4 or 5 out of 5. I don't know. I think she's really funny and a bit of a comedic relief, and for that reason, I had to give her an A tier. And I don't know. I think she deserves it. Next up, we have now we're getting into our top 5, I believe. So now we are really getting into the best characters of the show. And first up, we have Feud, who, if I had done this tier list, like, I don't know, at the beginning of season 2 or something, Fjord would be higher, even higher up than he is now. But I don't really like the direction they've taken with Fjord, where he abandoned Gry, and now he's going to be in his father's footsteps, and he's become a complete jerk, even more than his father was. And he already neglected his family, and he kind of comes back and it feels like he's still neglecting them. I don't know what to say about Feud. I think he's uh there's an interview with the actor for Fjord, and he said, "How do you describe your character?" And it's like mysterious, confident, blah blah blah, and that was great while it lasted. But now he's also, you can add to that list, a pretty big jerk, and the likability has just plummeted. And but his purpose and impact is also, it feels lesser than his father. He just kind of feels like a lesser version of his father, and for that reason, I have to put him at just A tier and fifth place. You know, still a great place to be. And let's get into our last A tier here, fourth place on the list. We have Laurits. So Laurits is a brilliant character, but I feel like he lacks some likability. You know, I'm sure his purpose and impact, uh, up to this point, not huge, but it will get much bigger as he represents Loki, who is really the player of both sides. And I think that it's a brilliant character. You know, Loki is a brilliant character, but Lauritz, like, I just don't find him super likable. I don't like how kind of snarky he is with everyone. I guess that's just me. I like when people are more straightforward and direct. And he just comes off as a little bit rude. I don't know. That's just me. I think that the characters above him are slightly not necessarily better characters, but just perform better on the likability, purpose, impact factors. And yeah, Lauritz, good character, but he has some ways to go for likability for sure. So he gets into the A tier, but I'm sure he'll be insanely important later in season 3, 4, whatever. But now we got our top three. I think that a lot of people expect at least one character who's here, but maybe not everyone expected Saxa to be in the top three. Saxa, and so I don't know, something about the end of season 2 tells me that she is you know, her likability has been growing and growing over the seasons. I like that she tried to kind of break traditions in her family and kind of take charge when things were falling apart and no one else was focused and paying attention. And she only got punished for it, which you know, makes the audience kind of not resonate with her, but to sympathize with her. So I did too, and I like the stuff. I shipped her and Magne. I think that's a really cool idea, and I'm pretty sure in Norse mythology they have a baby together, so that's going to be really interesting to see. And overall, I don't know. I think that her likability went from like a 2 all the way up to 5 now, and I like how she is just fierce, a very strong person. So yeah, and her purpose and impact are along the same lines with Laurits, but she just has that likability advantage on him. So yeah, she lands herself third place, and now we got two characters left, and man, these are really my two favorite characters, and unfortunately, spoiler warning, one of them was killed off in season 2, which, you know, had me very sad because I think Vidar was brilliantly acted, brilliantly played. Impact 5, Purpose 5, Likability 5. I think he was such an elegant leader for the Giants. He had his moments where he kind of glipped, but I love to see that he was also very human. He had his relationship with his newfound son Laurits, and I think it all just ended way too soon. I think they've really messed up here because you feel this void with Vidar, and especially when Fjord became kind of a copy of Vidar, it just feels so weird because there's a difference in height there. I know that's, you know, it's weird, but it is important. Like, this guy just feels much more masculine, strong, leader-esque, and like even more confident than Fjord. So something about Vidar I think is just was just magical in the show, and it's gone now. So I had to put him up here, and yes, that does mean that I do think that, you know, very predictable, blah blah blah. But I do think that Magne is the best character in the show. He obviously gets likability, purpose, impact 5 on all of them. I think he is, the word that describes Magne is heroic, moral, and just good person. You know, he even though he is the hero and he's supposed to defeat the giants, he always thinks about the consequences. He thinks about who he might be hurting. He thinks about the environment. He's always tries to be reasonable. He's very honest with people. Well, almost always, unless he's using. He lied to his brother, but it was for the greater good. It was a white lie, and I don't know. I just think that it doesn't really get much better than Magne, and rightfully so. He's our main character, But that is my list. All 14 characters here. There are some more minor ones, but I thought that these were the characters worth including on the list. If you haven't seen the show, well, I hope you didn't watch this video because it's kind of ruined, but I think the show is really, really cool. I'm looking forward to season 3. I want to make a few more videos at least on this show, and I really do think it captures kind of the modern world with Norse mythology is really cool, and I think that it captures Norwegian culture very well for anyone who wants to feel how small town Norwegian culture is. So yeah, really well done. Gain my respect from Netflix, and that's my tier list. And I'd like to thank everyone who's watched all the way through, and I'd like to ask everyone to subscribe to the channel, because if you like this video, you can expect more, and the only way you can keep watching the videos and get reminded of them is to subscribe. So that's it from me. I've rambled long enough. Thank you for watching.